Just when we all thought Darius Slay was officially going to either be traded or released, Philadelphia has re-signed Slay, waiting on the new contract details, but it won't be for new money. Also, CJ Gardner-Johnson, is it down to the Broncos and the Eagles to re-sign him? Maybe today. I'm Thomas Mott. This is the Thomas Mott Show. What's up, guys? Thomas Mott here. Welcome to the Thomas Mott Show early on a Thursday morning, and it's been the wildest week in recent Philadelphia offseason history. I mean, the fact that they are signing people, keeping people, losing people, then bringing them back, it's absolutely nuts. Let's start with the Slay news, and if you're just waking up, you don't have Twitter, surprise, as Bleeding Green Nation shows us, Darius Slay is staying with the Eagles. This was all happening late last night. I couldn't fall asleep. I'm browsing Twitter because of all the stuff that's happening on your screen. Let's go through it. Quote, after numerous media reports Wednesday, as well as a confirmation from the player himself, indicated he would not be returning to the Philadelphia Eagles in 2023, cornerback Darius Slay announced on Twitter late Wednesday that rumors of his departure were greatly exaggerated. Here's Slay's tweet. Back like I never left, run it back, Eagle emoji. In a shocking turn of events, multiple media outlets are now reporting Slay and the Eagles have agreed to a reworked deal that will keep him in Philly, provide that team with more cap space, and give Slay the long-term security he was seeking. This is what's important. Quote, Jeff McClain, Darius Slay's reworked deal isn't expected to include new money and should help clear salary cap space for the Eagles this season, a source said. That's the biggest part of this whole thing. Goodness gracious, we keep going. Despite their cap inflexibility, General Manager Howie Roseman has somehow managed to sign Rashard Penny, retain James Bradberry, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Boston Scott, and now Darius Slay, the later just hours after the player himself all but confirmed Philadelphia be releasing him. The tweet from Slay has since been deleted. However, when the official start of the new league year began at 4 p.m. Eastern Wednesday, the team did not release him, and said apparently working on a new contract to keep him in Philadelphia. Had they gone through with a post-June 1st designation on Slay's release, it would have saved them $17 million in cap space. The team would have been unable to spend money until that time. It's unclear either this writing what the rework deal is, but regardless, it allows the Eagles to keep one of the NFL's best cornerback duos in place for a Super Bowl window that is open right now, end quote. We still don't know the money, which is very strange to me. I feel like we need to know the money just to be able to really see what this deal is all about. But if Jeff McClain is right and there is no new money included, that means they're just moving around the dead cap hit and moving around the bonuses and probably giving him more money right now, but it's not going to count towards the 2023 NFL cap space, which has allowed them to make a whole bunch of other moves. I said this yesterday on our Wednesday live link with Josh Davis of the Philly Special Show. We entered free agency with $6 million in cap space, roughly $6 million in cap space. How they have signed Rashard Penny, signed Boston Scott, signed Fletcher Cox to a one-year $10 million deal, brought back Brandon Graham, and now kept James Bradberry and Darius Slay. Doesn't make sense. The salary cap is always fake. It's always wrong. Now that's a little funny term that everyone in the media says. It is real. We just have to be able to negotiate it, and Howie Roseman some way, somehow has been able to do that. Now, I do want to address, before we get to CJ Gardner-Johnson, this idea that Slay is old, and the idea that Slay is washed, and the idea that bringing back Darius Slay was a bad idea. I was always for bringing back Darius Slay. However, on my show yesterday, I said, listen, I get it. You draft a cornerback at number 10, you pair him with James Bradberry, and they're fine. And that can still be the case. Slay's not going to be here forever. He's 32 years old. You might want to draft his replacement in this draft because there's 3 very good ones sitting there waiting in the wings. However, this whole idea that he's no longer an elite cornerback, that Slay's washed, and that he was terrible the second half of the year, Pro Football Focus disagrees with that. PFF has their full-on grades and where they averaged every single week of the NFL season, and he's not number 1 or number 5. He's still top 15 in the National Football League, and that's the kind of money that was going to be left on his deal anyway. You see it here. Sauce Gardner was the highest-rated cornerback. Patrick Surtain was number 2. Look who's number 3, by the way. For those of you people who didn't want to keep James Bradberry and said that Juju Smith-Schuster worked him in the Super Bowl. One game doesn't define an entire season, even though it was a big game, but still, ranked number 3. Then you go down a little bit further and you find Darius Slay. Darius Slay right here, the 13th overall. His PFF ranked 6.75. That's pretty darn good. And when you look at the overall numbers, especially in man, he has been a very, very good cornerback. And I think what Philadelphia realized is that, yes, they can still draft somebody, and they might do that. But if you want to win right now, if you want to stop the Commanders, receiving core, you want to stop DeAndre Hopkins or OBJ potentially going to the Dallas Cowboys, reported earlier this morning, that might happen, that might not. You're going to need to have experienced cover guys and experienced leaders. And we forget, and the commenters forget on my show, Slay was elected a team captain by his peers. That means they respect respect him. That means that they appreciate him. That means that they think he still can play. And whether or not he turns out to be a Pro Bowler this year, which he was this past season, we seem to forget that as well, I think this is the right move for Philadelphia to keep the band back together. All they got to do now is re-sign CJ Gardner-Johnson, and once they do that, Philadelphia's offseason went from maybe a C+ at best to it's an A+. It really is. And you have 2 first-round draft picks remaining. Thumbs up for Slay coming back. Thumbs up for Howie Roseman being an absolute wizard. Okay, before you go ahead and get to the CJ Gardner-Johnson news, we're still waiting for him to sign somewhere. Last day before March Madness begins, you can still join my March Madness challenge, as March Madness starts today, actually, Link down below in the description box takes you to the TFM webpage where every person that signs up using one of our sports betting partners gets entered into the league where we contribute $50 towards the pot. So you have a chance to win some serious money here. The top 10 are paid out. You can have some serious entries if we get people to continue to go ahead and join. Going to be a lot of fun. Must be in a legal betting state. All the info on the webpage, link down below right now. Okay, I'm expecting CJ Gardner-Johnson today. At some point, if he does, I'll have a show on it, so subscribe, stay tuned for that. We're almost at 10K subs. But apparently, how I read it is that we're down to 2 teams, right? Because it's no longer the Bengals. They got an offensive tackle in Orlando Brown. They can't afford him. That was rumored that maybe he's going to be a Bengal. It's between Denver and Philadelphia. Here's the report from Mile High. Report, quote, Gardner-Johnson is 5'11", 210-pound safety who's entering his 5th year in the NFL, only 25 years old. This past season, he was a key member of the Philadelphia Eagles defense that made it to the Super Bowl. However, he did start his career in New Orleans as a second pick by Sean Payton, who is now the head coach in Denver with the Broncos. We have seen how having that connection has led to many coaches and now players reuniting with him in Denver. Back in late August, when the Saints traded Gardner-Johnson, Sean Payton was rather critical of the trade. He said the trade was a steal, that he had no idea why the Saints traded him to Philadelphia. Gardner-Johnson is a playmaking safety, also play multiple positions, including the slot. The Broncos currently have a vacancy in their secondary with Kareem Jackson being a free agent. There is room for Gardner-Johnson in the Broncos secondary. This is compounded by the fact that CJ Gardner-Johnson, whether he still is or to this day, or he's unfollowed the people, has followed a bunch of Bronco players as well, has liked some Bronco player tweets, and so the connection there would make a bunch of sense. All these other football teams that were in the running or at least needed a safety, again, Atlanta, Cincinnati, they don't have the money to do it anymore. Atlanta signed Cincinnati safety Jesse Bates, and Cincinnati just signed Orlando Brown, and so there isn't money left for Gardner-Johnson. I do think the fact that we're at Thursday now, 4 days into NFL free agency, and he has not been signed anywhere, is a very good indication that he could be coming back to Philadelphia. The question is going to be, how do you work out the money? Surely they've restructured Lane Johnson. Surely they've moved money around. Surely the Jalen Hurts' contract is coming up soon. I don't know when. I don't know how. But I think we're going to get a lot more exciting news later today. So be sure to go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification bell because we're going to give you guys everything happening in the National Football League, including the Philadelphia Eagles, especially if CJ Gardner-Johnson is signed or DeAndre Hopkins is traded to the Dallas Cowboys. Let's hope not. Or they sign OBJ, or anything crazy happens, we'll have you guys covered here on the Thomas Mott Show. So stay tuned. I'm fascinated by what happened over the evening, and just continue to sit back and be very appreciative that Philadelphia has one of the best cap-working NFL free agent GMs in the National Football League. Howie Roseman has flaws. Every single GM has flaws. But not every single GM can pull off last night, especially yesterday, this week, what Howie Roseman was able to do for a team that was supposed to lose everybody, that was supposed to be gutted. Adam Schefter reported they were going to lose everybody, and yet here we are. They're keeping almost everybody, and if they bring back CJ Gardner-Johnson, they kept everybody, which is unbelievable for Philadelphia. So we will see. I'm Thomas Mott. This has been the Thomas Mott Show.